Our strategy with Trump, and I've dealt with Trump in the past, electricity, biggest supplier of fertilizer, biggest supplier of aluminum, biggest supplier of semiconductors. We supply almost all their semiconductors. That whole, everybody in the White House is a tech bro except for Trump. They all need semiconductors. They all come from Canada.
Mark Carney was spotted in Barrie, Ontario yesterday, and there's two fact checks I'm going to do. First of all is that he said he met Trump. And the second one is Canada supplies all its semiconductors to America. Is a big supplier. You learn something every day. But let's fact check what he said. He has sat on the board of 30 companies. So this guy is a talker. Welcome back to Canada Wide. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's have a listen to Mark in the bar in Barrie, and then I'll fact check what he just said.
I got a couple things actually. We take security seriously, right? We do not want any chance of foreign interference in this election. And we believe in security, which is why I applied for my top secret security. Right? And I'm gonna tell you,
Unlike someone else.
unlike someone else, it wasn't that hard. You had to fill out your banking details, where you lived, your friends, all the stuff. You had to sit down. Actually, the CSIS came around for a little interview the other day. But you know what? I got my top secret service. I got it. I got it last night. Because one of the things that is on the line in this election is defending our country. Absolutely. We got to secure our borders. We got to secure our borders with the U.S. They think it's about fentanyl going down there. Yeah. It's about their guns coming up. Yeah. And we got to secure our border from where I'm from, or at least where I was born, in the Arctic. That's our Arctic. We got Donald Trump talking to Vladimir Putin about our Arctic. No.
3%, Mark. 3%.
3%. What?
GDP for military.
For military. Okay. This is a good. It's a good shout out. So one of the things that is going to be different about the government going forward is we're going to focus on results. So it's less about what the number is, but are we securing our borders? Are we doing the right thing to protect Canadians? It's going to take a lot more money. It's going to take a lot more money. But what we're not going to do is say we're going to spend X billion dollars and push that money out and do just to get to a number, Because right now, if we pushed out that number, 80% of it goes to the Americans. 80% of it goes to Americans.
Yes. No.
And who turns it? It's true.
No, I mean, no, we don't want
We don't want it. That's good. We're on the same team. We are all on the same team. No, but we got it. We got to step up. I agree. And we are going to step up, and we got to step up for our military as well in terms of their salaries and the support that they have and the support for our veterans, which we're going to do. But we are going to build. We got to modernize and we got to build.
Drones are cheap. Working on Ukraine.
Drones are cheap. Yeah. It wasn't a good. Who wants to go into the Oval Office with President Trump? That was awful. You're putting your hand up. We're gonna actually. We're sending you in first. We're sending you in first. You soften them up. You soften them up for me. No, what our strategy with Trump. And I've dealt with Trump in the past. He respects strength. He respects strength. Like a lot of bullies, he respects strength.
There's no clear evidence that Mark Carney ever met officially Donald Trump. They could have been at the same meetings and Carney saw Trump, but there's no mention anywhere in the past that has ever happened. So that is a very inaccurate comment. I think what he's trying to say is that he's met people like Donald Trump that are bullies, but then when you hang around with billionaires and kings, I think that you're going to meet a lot of people that got to that position, but not by being nice, but by being very savvy business people. So that is very incorrect what he has said.
And that's part of the reason. Look, we got to build here for ourselves, but it's also to show him that we are masters in our own home, right? We're in charge. We are in charge. We got other options. They need us. They need us. We are their biggest supplier of energy. We're the biggest supplier of electricity, biggest supplier of fertilizer, biggest supplier of aluminum, biggest supplier of semiconductors. We supply almost all their semiconductors. That whole, everybody in the White House is a tech bro except for Trump. They all need semiconductors. They all come from Canada.
No, not at all. Not all semiconductors come from Canada to the United States. So what he said is false there. Now, USA does manufacture semiconductors in Texas and Arizona, New York, and Oregon. But what he said was incorrect. And Canada plays an important role, I understand that, in designing and manufacturing and contributions. But in Canada, we don't test and send all semiconductors to America. That is so false. And I don't even know where he thinks that's actually done, in like Markham, Ontario or something, or some place in Vancouver. I really don't understand why he would say that, but I think him being on the board of 20 people or 20 corporations, and I calculated in another video, that's about $5 million salary a year for doing that, that he just says what they want to hear. And I don't think anyone checks what he has to say. That's what it almost looks like. Let's continue watching Mark in the bar in Barrie.
Maybe they won't. Maybe one day they won't show up. We'll see. You'll see what they're thinking. I don't think. Are we sent? Does you guys send any of this beer south of the border? You do.
No, this is all us.
You do. Okay. Can you send it across Canada?
And we send it across Canada too.
Every province?
No.
That's not right.
No.
That's not right. How many economies should we have in Canada? One. Not 13. One.
That's right.
Yeah. So let's get together. We'll have one economy, one strong country, a country that lives Canadian values. An economy lives. Why do we want a strong economy? We want good jobs for people today. We want futures for our children. We want a sustainable world. We want to be able to afford our health care so everyone gets what they deserve. We want to have a social safety net that protects the most vulnerable, because we're Canadians. We're not Americans who walk away from the people who are in trouble in society. We want to be able to support our military.
Yeah.
And then on a Friday afternoon, which I'm glad to see in Barrie, starts at noon. Come here. We're gonna drink. Yes, ma'am.
How are you going to do?
Oh my God, it's turned into a Q&A.
How are you going to deal with probably like Trump is one issue. We got to get you into office.
Well, we got to do a few
How are you
things.
gonna
Okay,
deal with
we
him?
got to do a few things. One is I have to become liberal leader. So everyone's got to work their way through the app. And they got to please check my name first. Go for other people after me, but check my name first. Look, Polyev. First thing, I think what we have to do is a lot, and this reason part of my remarks, we got to have a positive agenda. Canadians want a positive agenda.
Yep.
Tired of being divided. We want to come together and build this country, and so that's what we're going to focus on first and foremost. Secondly, we got to level with people, and the reality is we are in a crisis. It's not our fault, but we are in a crisis. It's a serious situation. This is not the time for someone who's only ever jumped up and shouted slogans in the House of Commons. It's not. Honestly, it is not. And if any of you are here today, I fully respect your service. No, I'm just kidding. But like, it's not the time for someone like that, and it's also not the time for someone who talks about the market, talks about the private sector, talks about trickle-down economics, but has only ever been a politician. In my experience around the world, the people who are the biggest ideologues around this stuff, they've only ever been a politician, or they're like a tenured professor at some university. Like that. That's the ones who believe. They've never made payroll. They've never earned a paycheck. They don't understand that it's communities and people at the heart of economies. That's what we understand. So we have to do to beat them. Be positive. Convince Canadians that we're the right ones to manage them through this crisis. Look, if there's not a crisis, you wouldn't be seeing me. I am most useful. I'm honest. I'm most useful in crisis. I'm not that good in peacetime. Don't tell anyone, because I might, once we get through this, I'm not that good. I'm not that good. Yeah, exactly. I'll be, Churchill. You can let me know when it's 1945, and I'll be tap on the shoulder and going up. But this is
39.
It's 38. You know what it is? It's Yeah, it's 1938. And the question is, do you appease these guys?
Yeah.
Like
Never.
Chamberlain? Never.
Never.
Never. Exactly. You stand up. You stand up. That's what gets you through it.
And we do it the Canadian.
And we do it the Canadian way.
Yeah.
And then, and I don't know where it's going to be, is 5 years from now, 7 years, maybe 10, when the Americans come back, we just pretend it didn't happen. Like, come up to Barry. Yes, I'm going to sign. But we won't forget. We're nice enough. Yeah. We'll be nice. All right. Listen, thank you. I want to come around and meet people properly for the Q&A really breaks out. As I say, everything's
Only are 20, 30 people there, and it's all controlled. They probably send emails out and check to see who was in the neighborhood that could come by, and the RCMP probably validated them. But Mark Carney being on American TV, very controlled Canadian news, he's not reaching Canadians, in my opinion. He's not reaching it. He's saying some nice things in the bar, but I think it's one thing that people, and they're not going to forget this either, is that for the 10 years that the Liberals have not listened, they have forced policies through, and in Trudeau's eyes, he thinks he's been for 3 terms the leader. But going back to the interference in the first election and the second one, and then the third one too, with the what happened with the with how do I say it, the Truth and Reconciliation, that issue in 2021, and forcing election during COVID because it was a good time for Trudeau. I don't think people will ever forget what he did, and the Liberal people and the Liberal leaders. Chrystia Freeland going on Bill Mayer talking. She she's the one that froze the bank accounts. You know, she put a smile on her face and did it. She backed Trudeau every step of the way. The Liberals that just don't listen, in my opinion, they don't care, and a lot of politicians don't care, but they only care when it comes up to an election. They say what they need to, like 2 months before, and then they'll go back and do the worst thing possible again. And this must end, in my opinion. And I thought too before, when they say that liberals are closing in, I think there's 4 candidates, so there's all the Liberals are looking at all 4 candidates, and each one of them likes their candidate. So they're combining all the popularity together into one. But when one comes out at the end, it's going to change a lot. And I got a feeling, and I don't want to say this too, but I think Frank might actually win, Frank Bayless, because out of all 4 of them, he is the best one, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people see through that. They're just sick and tired of all this back and forth. Anyway, thanks for watching Canada Wide. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next videos. Best of good. Byes.